it wasn't quite as hard as he'd thought. Each Majin Buu was a good deal stronger and faster than Gohan, even in Super Saiyan 3, true. But they lacked skill, just as the real Buu had before he'd absorbed anyone. This always let him get some decent hits in, and here was where his other advantage came in. Majin Buu's toughness and resistance to damage had always been lower than his actual power level would indicate. Even fighting an equal, he would frequently sustain wounds that would be fatal to any other fighter, only surviving thanks to his monstrous regeneration. These internal copies, though, had extremely limited regeneration capabilities, which could be overloaded by 1 or 2 killing blows, and they retained Buu's relatively low resilience. Gohan dived out of the way of the magically elongating arm snatching at him, rebounding off the wall and leaping over the front 3 ranks of the Buus, tackling one from the middle of the group to the ground. I can't afford to get stuck here fighting all these. I have to get through! Behind him, he could hear the rhythmic thumps and crashes as his father fought through the small army, Goku's unprecedented power letting him dispose of each foe in a single blow. Now he was in full swing. Not that it was just his power that carried the pure-hearted Saiyan through the onrushing hordes with such ease. His battle instinct was flawless, letting him react instinctively to every twitch of movement from his enemies, timing his attacks perfectly, and hurling them back in even greater numbers. Baby's squad of possessed Buus was also making good progress. They suffered a few casualties, but Baby's skill and coordination made each of them a match for several of the enemy. The Tuffle controller himself took care to stay a couple of steps behind the action, using his minions as shields to protect him from incoming attacks. Gohan threw a punch at the Buu he'd tackled, but it jerked its head to the side, avoiding the attack, and threw him off. He fired a one-handed blast as he fell away, missing with this, too. The Buu scrambled to its feet, swinging a haymaker that he only just ducked, having diverted its attention to its front. Gohan then exerted mental control on his still-flying energy beam, swinging it around and pulling it back towards his opponent. It smashed into the Buu from behind, tunneling into the flesh of its back before exploding, blasting the creature to pieces. It didn't recover, and Gohan didn't stop to admire his handiwork, reaching out with his mind and mapping out the 5-dimensional layout of the area ahead. As several Buus in front of him began to advance, he shifted past them, his image disassembling into a multitude of colored particles, which shortly vanished as he passed out of phase with the 4th-dimensional world, then reappeared and formed themselves back into Gohan's humanoid shape at the end of the corridor. Now, he stood at the entrance of another large chamber, this one more brightly lit than any part of the interior Buu's body he'd encountered so far. Arranged in a row by one wall were a pair of roughly spherical pods, made out of the same veined, fleshy material that the rest of Buu's inside seemed to be, attached via thick cords to the ceiling and floor. Before he could investigate further, Gohan heard the growls of a pair of inner Buus approaching from behind him. In a flash of high-speed movement, Goku appeared between them and his son, arms raised protectively. "Go on!" he said in a commanding tone. "I won't let any of them through." "Right!" Gohan nodded his thanks, and quickly approached the strange objects. As he drew closer, it became obvious what he was seeing. From each pod protruded a head. One was Break's, the other Tien's. "I found them!" He called back to the others. The third cord dangled from the ceiling, snapped off at the end, and a smooth hole occupied the spot on the floor directly below it. I guess this was Piccolo, Gohan realized. Buu must have jettisoned that cocoon to another part of his body right before the explosion, so Break and Tien didn't get killed by such close proximity to the center of the blast. Smart. So, seems fairly obvious. He fired a series of small blasts, severing the cord suspending Tien and Break's pods, then caught them before they hit the floor. "I got them!" Outside, Buu, who had up until now been absorbed in directing the battle inside his own body, suddenly shrieked with frustration, arcing his back and hissing like a cat. Raditz watched in confusion. What's happening in there? Buu's features began to melt, muscles losing some of their tone, his entire body shrinking a little, face becoming less human and reverting to its previous, more monstrous appearance. A third eye snapped open wide on his forehead for a moment, then was gone just as quickly. "What?" Buu gurgled. "They done to me?" Inside Buu, the entire chamber shook violently, everyone grimly hanging on as the lurching settled down. Abruptly, all the Buu copies, babies included, froze in place. They shivered slightly, twitched, and melted into the floor. "Alright!" Goku walked over to Gohan, taking Tien's pod from him. "I guess you're right about the multiform. Now he doesn't know it, there should only be 1 or 2 of those guys roaming around. So I guess we should try and leave now we've got our friends," Gohan asked. "Though Buu still has Piccolo's power, and none of us are at 100%. We're probably still going to have to fuse to beat him." He sighed. "Ah, man, it's going to be tough to explain to everybody." "Yeah, about that." Goku grinned sheepishly, holding up the chain that had once been attached to the main part of a Batara earring. Now a smoking ruin was all that was left. I wasn't paying attention, and one of them kinda shot it. Gohan gawked. You what? Hey, don't blame me, I was just dodging. It was that or my head. How are we supposed to beat Buu now, Dad? With Piccolo's energy, even you can't... Gentlemen, Baby's voice cut across the room. Look at this. Goku turned. What have you found? Baby was on the other side of the area, pointing to what appeared to be another absorption pod. From the center protruded an extraordinary sight. The head of the fat, goofy Majin Buu. What the... How'd he get in here? Gohan wondered. Baby shrugged. I guess when Babidi's spell brought the evil, more evil anyway, half of Buu to the surface. This is where the other half went. Say, he brightened up. Even the fat Buu was pretty powerful, right? If we remove him too, this Buu, he pointed to the ceiling, should lose quite a lot of power. Sounds like a plan. Gohan gave the thumbs up. Do it. Don't! A harsh, guttural voice called. Buu. A single Buu copy stood in the entrance to the chamber. You can't do that! No, I'm pretty sure we can. Baby raised his hand, preparing to fire and remove the fat Buu. Don't! Buu repeated, desperation creeping into its voice. If he goes, I won't be me! He held out a pleading hand. I'll be him again! What you'll be is weaker, Gohan said decisively. Baby! Right. Baby fired, energy beam slicing through the connections that held the fat Buu's cocoon in place. It tumbled, unsupported to the floor, and rolled away ungracefully. No! No! Buu fell to its knees, eyes twitching uncontrollably. I don't want to go back! It stopped talking, choked, and fell onto its face. The chamber began to shake again. Let's get out of here, Goku decided. Whatever this is, I don't like it. No arguments here, Gohan concurred. Should we just leave the less evil Buu in here? He tried to kill us too, remember? Baby reminded him. This one was just better at it. Come on. The three fighters fired in unison, blowing open a large hole in the ceiling. Well, a large hole relative to them. In reality, it was tiny. As chunks of pink flesh rained down around them, they flew up and out before it could close up and heal. And just like that, without any drama or ceremony, they were back outside in a full size. Buu was emitting an ear-piercing scream, and they fled before their ears gave out, setting Tien break down in a clearing in a nearby forest. Baby, Goku hesitated. Well, you can't possess Buu, and his power is a bit out of your league, in any form. I understand, Baby smiled. Don't worry, I don't mind missing a fight, as long as I know somebody's taking care of it. I'll get these two out of those pods, and watch them until they wake up. Alright, thanks. Goku turned back to Gohan. We should probably go tell your uncle what's going on. Maybe the three of us can gang up on Buu or something. There's no need to tell me, came Raditz's voice from behind. It all looks pretty clear. You remove those two and Buu's pitching a fit. Not quite that simple, Gohan replied. We removed the fat Buu, too. That's what's really got him worried. Yeah, now that you mention it, Raditz said. His ki's been all over the place for the last couple of minutes. Just losing Break and Tien would barely affect his energy at all, now Break's powered down. Just his intelligence and techniques. He paused. Hold on. Didn't you fuse? Yeah. Goku grinned his I'm innocent grin again. It turns out Buu's insides messes with the earring's magic, so we separated. And then mine got broken, so we can't refuse. Somehow I'm not surprised. The older sibling grinned. Well, it's done now. Come on, let's not leave our friend unattended. The other two Saiyans grabbed hold, and one instant transmission trip took them directly opposite Buu, who had landed on a hilltop and was continuing his agonizing shout. His whole body bunched up, growing suddenly shorter and hunching over. Enormous muscles sprung up on his top half, swelling his torso and arms to grotesque proportions. Raditz nodded. Like Kaioshin said, after he absorbed the old South Kaioshin, the original Buu took on his muscular appearance. And guess what we're seeing is Buu before the good-bad split. Hold on, Goku muttered. He's still changing. Indeed, Buu was still as obnoxiously loud as ever, and continuing to undergo physical changes. Heralded by a high-pitched whine, clouds of steam billowed out from his head and shoulder pores, filling the air with a gigantic white cloud. Get ready! Gohan warned. They powered up in readiness, Goku to his base maximum, the others to Super Saiyan 2. The wait. The near silence as they awaited Buu to reveal his new form, stretched out to eternity. Gohan's own aura, even at rest, sounded to him like a thunderstorm in those quiet moments. Every breath was a gale. If Buu's figure hadn't slowly become visible through the clearing steam after a couple of minutes, he tested later, he would have gone insane there and then. Boo had indeed changed once again. Still short, now it was thin enough to match. Its features had softened. In fact, it looked for all the world like a child. A child version of Majin Buu, anyway. Its eyes were glazed over, and it stared blankly down at its feet, arms hanging limply at its sides. So, this is his original form, Raditz deduced. I guess the Fat Buu was really what was holding everything together. Anyway, he shouldn't be much weaker than any version of the tall one. Unless he still has Piccolo's power absorbed, Goku countered. And the big Kaioken in him didn't just vanish from existence. Honestly, there's no way of telling how powerful he is. There's one way, Raditz said, making fists. Let's attack before he takes the initiative, and just be done with it already. This has already gone on too long. Ironically though, speaking those words took up all the time they had. Almost as soon as he'd finished, Buu raised one hand towards the sky. It began to form an energy sphere, which grew larger with alarming speed. Buu hadn't even had to power up at all. The energy was just there. It was soon easily sufficient to destroy the planet, the sun, the whole star system. But it kept growing, growing beyond belief. What the hell? Raditz growled. Where did this come from? He's far more powerful than me. That can't be right. Get ready, Gohan shouted. We can block it if we work together. Fool, he's not aiming for us. What do you... Buu released the colossal attack, throwing it straight down at the earth itself. The onrushing wave of power threw out ahead of it smashed up the ground before it even got close, and the whole area was bathed in its unearthly pink glow. There was no time for doubt or second guesses. Two of the fighters there had been doing this for years, knew each other's skills and abilities like their own, and true to form responded instantly. ×3! Goku's aura blazed. Raditz! A hand gripped his shoulder. An instant transmission hop took them directly into the path of the incoming blast. Super Saiyan 3 power burst out of Raditz's body once again. A combined field of red and gold energy building around the brothers, crackling as the edges of it touched the wake of Buu's attack. Their reply would have to be timed perfectly, and the thought hit them at the same time. It was barely conscious, relying on instinct and intuition forged out of a lifetime of battle. Now! Kamehameha ×10! Dragon Fist! The clash of insanely powerful energies, the direct opposition of one fighter's will and power against another's, should have gone on for much longer to suit its climactic nature. Sadly, this was not the case, and the brothers' combined attack hurled Buu's directly back in its own path in a matter of seconds. The seemingly inexorable energy sphere, it turned out, was no match for their combined might. There was an explosion, because there always is with this sort of thing. Luckily, it was directed out into space, otherwise it would have cracked the planet in half. As it was, the backblast alone was enough to fling the two powering down Saiyans to the ground, thrown for all their strength like ants in a hurricane. Of Buu, there was no sign. Gohan landed behind them as they stood warily. Guys, that was incredible! I barely had time to react! Goku gave a tired smile. No time to celebrate now, though. Yeah, Raditz nodded. Buu's still out there, but by now pieces of him are spread from here to Saturn, so we've got a little time. Ideas? I'm pretty sure I could take him at full strength, Goku said, but not like I am now. Well, if we got a couple of minutes, I could go get Dende, Gohan suggested. I passed by him earlier. He's still alive. Let me. Raditz tapped his forehead. I'll go ahead and get everyone still alive. He vanished, returning shortly with Dende, Launch, 18, and Goten in tow, the latter two unconscious. That is until Dende applied his restorative magics to them. 18 still wasn't at 100%. The young Namek could heal her biological human body, but restoring her mechanical components would take full technical repairs. I'm afraid I'm getting tired, Dende confirmed. I've only got energy left for one more. Consensus was reached instantly. Goku was their best shot at taking Buu down. Another instant transmission trip brought Baby and the now awakened Tien to break. So, Launch swung her legs idly, sitting in the lower branches of a tree. Do we just wait for Buu to show up and jump him? Goku scratched his head. I guess, but I don't like it. I mean, this one's even more crazy than the others. I don't think there's anything on his mind but mindless destruction. He didn't even care about us. Guess he just felt like blowing up Earth. You can't fight something like that without too much collateral damage. In that case, Gohan spoke up. Come to think of it, there is a place where we can fight with no damage to anything. Why don't we try and lure Buu into the hyperbolic time chamber? But the lookout was destroyed, Break reminded him. Mostly. To get into the chamber, we just need the door. Why don't we check if it survived? Raditz, can you take Dad and me there? Sure. Free ride. That's all I am to you people. The shaggy-haired man grumbled, teleporting the other two over to the ruins of the lookout. A quick search revealed disheartening news. The door had survived, but was burned almost black, and one corner was completely missing. Opening it, they felt a rush to the chamber's hot, stifling air, but nothing on the other side, just a solid wall. So, Gohan said quietly, rubbing his chin. The connection's still there, sort of. It's just damaged. A thought struck him. Raditz, come help me with this. With what? You know how to fix it? Maybe. Look, if we were in the chamber right now, standing behind the door like this, we'd be behind the building. Equally, there are two spaces just in front of the door. One inside the chamber, one in the lookout. You follow? No, but go on, I'll get there. Gohan tapped the door. I'm thinking, as a different dimension, the chamber occupies the same 3 or 4 dimensional space that we do, just slightly removed in a direction we can't normally move in or even comprehend. The beginnings of realization dawned in the older fighter's eyes. This is starting to sound a lot like that technique of yours. Shifting, yeah. I can see and move in those directions. If the damage has knocked the chamber out of alignment, maybe I can shift it back. So what do you need me for? Your instant transmission technique. You can pick out an energy signature from across the universe and travel there in no time at all. I need you to do the mental legwork, basically. He pointed towards his uncle. I never got the hang of telepathy, so you better read my mind. Right, no problem. Raditz placed one hand on the damaged door, and the other on Gohan's head, connecting their minds to each other, and to the broken dimensional portal. Space expanded. A whole new dimension of movement he'd never even been aware of, like he was a stick figure who'd stood up off the paper. He felt like he was simply standing on Earth, amidst what had seemed like solid objects, but they were all flat, merely 3D. Around him swam an infinite void, an unending stretch of blank whiteness. And yet there, off in the distance, was an indistinct shape. Like he said, I could find anything. Focus. Focus! It swam into view, a memorable domed building flanked by a pair of giant hourglasses. Yes, it had been knocked out of line, but moving it back? He could move himself anywhere with instant transmission, traverse distances instantly, but not such a distant object, floating beyond its mere 4-dimensional body's reach. But I can, said Gohan's voice. I can shift other objects, remember? I just can't do it at this kind of distance, combining my ability to move anything and see into the 5th dimension, with my unlimited range and my ability to find the damn thing in the first place. Together their minds reached out, grabbed hold of the hyperbolic time chamber, and dragged it towards them. Physical strength was irrelevant here. Mental fortitude carried them through, unwavering, pulling on an entire miniature dimension with every fiber of their combined willpower. The backlash when it clicked into place with the door was a sufficient shock to snap them back into their reality, falling in an ungainly heap on the floor, before jumping to their feet and finding something to lean on. Goku, it's done! Raditz pulled open the door, showing the familiar chamber within. Awesome! Goku said, then froze up. Good timing though, because if I'm not mistaken, he's coming back. He took a deep breath. Alright, I'll do my best, but if I can't beat him, I'll just destroy the door completely and he'll kill me and be trapped in there. You guys wait a day or so, then wish for me to be resurrected in this dimension. You don't want anyone to go in with you? Gohan asked. The more of us there are, the better our chances of winning. No, I can't ask you to do that. If there's someone else in there with me, neither of us will be able to bring ourselves to blow the door and trap the other in. Plus, he grinned. I know it sounds crazy, but I really want the chance to take this boo on. No absorptions, no fusion, and in an empty dimension where I can fight with no holds barred. I understand, Raditz nodded. You just lure him into the chamber, and do what you do best. Eat? Goku asked, playing dumb. This drew a nervous chuckle. Boo's approaching key heralded his arrival in a couple of minutes. One thing, Gohan said. Normally the chamber's kinda weird looking in the 4th dimension. That's time. It's sort of bunched up. Not anymore though. We had to move it a lot closer to this dimension than usual to get it to link to the door despite the damage. So there's no more year and a day thing. Time here is time there. Right, thanks. Well, he's getting close now. Wish me luck. Goku took a couple of steps back, standing in the doorway and throwing his shoulders out, ki building around him. Dad. Don't die, Gohan said, stepping aside. Don't worry about it, kid. I don't plan to. Hey, Raditz began. Goku waved dismissively, smirking. Yeah, I know. Don't die. I get it. No, you know this isn't about live or die. Raditz clapped his brother on the shoulder. Win! Do my best. Now get out of here. But he won't be here for another minute at least. Now! At his words, Raditz flinched away, a moment before Boo flickered into view directly opposite Goku. Instant transmission! Gohan felt himself almost freezing up with fear again. Boo's enormous aura, tangible pressure in the air. He learned it just by watching it a couple of times. Goku took another half step back. Hey, Boo. You're not dumb. He pointed a thumb at himself. You know I'm the strongest here. You want to blow up this place for kicks? You'll have to get past me. The new childlike Boo grinned savagely, and without warning charged Goku bull-like, slamming into him and tackling him through the door. Raditz sprang forwards and slammed it behind him. He leaned heavily on the door, panting. His face shone with sweat. He felt that power too, Gohan noticed. I didn't even think my uncle could feel fear. Goku twisted free of Boo's grasp in mid-flight, kicking the nightmarish creature's face and breaking away from it. They both hit the ground on their feet, skidding away in opposite directions. Boo fixed him with that vacant stare, somehow even more eerie than the unreined malice in the other one's eyes. It swayed slightly from side to side, teeth clicking against each other. Don't talk much in this form, do you? Man, all this fighting. My shirt's ruined. Goku tore free the last scraps, running his other hand through his gravity-defying hair. I wasn't even using the Kaioken just now, but I know you weren't using anything close to your full power. So let's both go all out now, huh? Finally, just me and the enemy. I'm at full strength, no innocents to hurt, nobody absorbed to worry about. His hands were shaking, but not with fear. A wild grin stole its way onto his face. This is what I live for. That's it for chapter 89. I'll see you in chapter 90 in a few seconds. Stay tuned. This new Boo seemed less threatening at first, but it quickly became apparent to Goku that it was terrifying enough in its own right. It alternated between sullen silence, raging childlike tantrums, and eerie fits of laughter. It moved in a jerky, twitchy manner which belied its speed, and furthermore gave it the appearance of a shambling, half-dead thing that was only partly aware of its surroundings. Though aware it certainly was, aware enough to fight with all the ferocity of a cornered snake. Goku made the first move in one of its quieter moments, aiming a punch at its face. However, just before he made contact, a stream of information stabbed its way into his mind, momentarily disorienting him. Alien, Boo, Fear, Hate, Defend, Super, Deborah, Bobbity, Fusion, Diffuse, Saiyan, 2, 3, 4, Majin, Boo, M, Defeat, Boo, Fear. When his vision returned, he wavered slightly, and Boo was grinning. It snapped into motion, and each of their fists collided with the other's face at once. Boo's head and torso rocked backwards, but his legs stayed rooted to the spot. Goku, meanwhile, was flung back, world spinning, until he came crashing to the blank white ground. He clambered back up, rubbing where a bruise would soon form on his cheek. He's much stronger than he should have been. I guess he did retain the energy he absorbed from Piccolo. He looked up, seeing that Boo was gone, and heard the hiss of high-speed movement. Damn, guess I'll have to use more power, even if it reduces my endurance. ×3! The Kaioken fired up, and his boosted reaction speed and senses let him see Boo coming, above and to the left, face contorted in a twisted snarl. Moving quickly to react, muscle memory firing fibers down his arm faster than his conscious mind could assess the situation, Goku caught Boo's incoming fist, stepping back and pulling Boo over his head, pitching it away and subsequently drawing his hands back to the ever-reliable energy-gathering pose. ×10! Boo began to flail in the air, and Goku knew his window of opportunity to hit with this attack was shrinking. Too late to change my mind. I've already gathered too much energy. Kamehameha! The beam roared forward, blasting straight through one of the giant hourglasses flanking the time chamber's entrance. Goku took a couple of staggering steps back, lowering his steaming hands and inhaling. A tap on the ground in front of him brought dismay to his heart. Boo, the left half of its body completely blown away, crumpled to the ground. However, with a pop, it regenerated fully and stood, stretching. Goku threw a Ki, flinging it away before it could take the initiative. Again, Boo recovered extremely quickly, the dent in its skin filling out and yawning as it stretched its neck. A string of drool hung from its mouth. What's up with this? Goku wondered. This regeneration's even crazier than Boo's other forms. He's not even losing any energy when he heals. Boo sprung at him, and he span around the attack, turning the movement into a back kick. But Boo's claw-like nails raked across his back, and it was hurled into the air again, kicking and screaming. Goku charged into the air after it, elbowing it in the stomach, then bringing down both fists on its head and smashing it back to the floor. He descended, facing the growling beast as it rose again. Again, no matter how much damage I do, I'm getting nowhere. Technique, shift, transmission, travel, instant Kai, movement. Boo? Boo, Majin Boo, defeat how? Regenerate impossible, defeat overcome. Blast too powerful? Again, a strange stream of consciousness, of thoughts not his own. But he thought he recognized the voice. Gohan? Why am I hearing Gohan's jumbled thoughts? Before he could puzzle this out though, Boo was running at him. Ah! Boo shrieked, arms held out to the side, sprinting like a manic child. Goku frowned. If I don't boost it, I can charge quicker. Kamehameha! He hurriedly fired the two-handed blast, intercepting Boo's charge. Though less powerful, the beam still knocked Boo back a considerable distance, leaving its front side scorched black for a few seconds. Shaking its head as the burns faded, Boo's frown faded into a grin. Tapping its head once, it lowered its hands to one side, then brought them forwards, launching a lance-like pink beam. Is that? Goku managed before Boo's Kamehameha hit him head-on. He crossed his arms over his face, pushed forcefully back by the attack, feet scrambling for purpose on the smooth ground. That's enough! He yelled, throwing his arms out and scattering the beam shards of energy raining down around him. He copied my technique just by observing it. This thing just gets more dangerous the longer it fights. Since his thoughts were already on Boo's borrowed techniques, when Boo vanished completely, he instantly settled on instant transmission. Only, he's never been here before, and his keys become so faint. To move that distance from the nearest key signal into unknown territory, it can't just be instant transmission. Could it be the Kai's version? They can just teleport anywhere. Though I suppose they, and he, can't cross dimensions at least. Then, something even stranger happened. Part of Boo's ki began to move closer, while most of it stayed distant. What could this mean? What's he doing now? The answer became clear a few short moments. Boo's hand, on the end of its grotesquely elongated arm, appeared in Goku's peripheral vision, speeding towards him. Crazy! He must be stretching for miles! Quickly forming a plan, he vaulted onto the wrist, powering up a Kaioken ×2 and racing down Boo's writhing arm. Keeping his balance was a struggle, but keeping his momentum up was a huge help. Eventually, Boo's small pink and white body became visible. Goku's eyes narrowed with determination, and he sped up, leaping the last few dozen meters and jump-kicking Boo across the face. It spat purplish blood, retaliating with a rising knee to his jaw that shook his vision. But he powered up to a 3x boost and brought his fist together with its head between, crushing it between his hands. Yeah! As it was Boo, its head shortly sprang back to normal, but it was staggered and confused. It turned, fixing its eyes on the time chamber's entrance, the only landmark of any kind in the whole vast, infinite emptiness. As its arm finally retracted to normal length, Goku grabbed a hold of its shoulder. Don't want to lose your bearings, I see. You're not totally stupid then, but you're not getting away from me! The world dissolved into a crazy spiral of colors, as it sometimes did when you'd hitched a ride with someone's teleportation before. Other times it was an empty black expanse. He'd never been in transit with an enemy before, though. Still in the instant movement dimension, Goku hammered with a series of close-range elbow smashes, keeping his grip on the creature with his other hand. As they reappeared in the material world, near the entrance again, he swayed backwards and swung a punch, but Boo ducked inside it, its head dodging away from Goku's hand and carrying on to strike him in the chest. They landed opposite each other again, coming to a halt and glaring across the empty landscape. This is going to drag on too long. Goku's breathing was already too fast for his liking. Alright, let's do this! Boo giggled, shoulders shaking. Then it flung its head back and began to beat on its chest in the manner of an aggressive gorilla. Every hit drew a puff of steam out of his vents, until he was surrounded in a cloud of the stuff. What's that, a challenge? Goku asked aloud. Or just showing off? Well, his muscles bunched up, and a ripple passed down his mighty frame as ki welled to the surface. A red aura sprung to life, and a focused intensity snapped into his eyes. Threefold Kaioken! Boo barely had time to lower its head to face him before he tore into it. The survivors of Earth were gathered around the hyperbolic time chamber door, waiting in anxious, pained silence. It's been too long, Raditz hissed. Time's not compressed there anymore, 18 reminded him. It's only been a few minutes. Yeah, you guys can make a fight last a long time sometimes, Dende joked. Don't worry about it. He looked idly up into the sky. I wish we could do something, though. What if Goku comes back to ask for help? Or Boo beats him and gets out before he can destroy the door? No one replied at first. I'm not sure what to tell you, Gohan said. Dad's plan is about the best we've got. Is that so? A smug voice in their heads asked. What if you had 3 wishes from Namek on speed dial? Tien was the first to reply. King Kai! You talked to the Namekians? Sure, they were happy to help. You guys did sort of save their race from extinction. You get a few favors for that. The Kai waited for someone to respond. What? Come on, guys, any ideas? Well, there is... No, that wouldn't... Tien sighed, shaking his head. Never mind. What? Goten demanded, tugging on Tien's arm. What was it? Tien shrugged. Well, if you must know, I was going to try a spirit bomb, see if the dragon could restore Earth and its people so I could use their energy. but the Namekian dragon can't restore more than one person's life with one wish. It wouldn't work. Well, I'm still here, Dende pointed out. You could just use Purunga to wish Earth Dragon Balls to this location and then use them for the resurrection. Although, all the people we've brought back before wouldn't be able to come back again. Only Purunga can resurrect someone more than once.
Oh, quit worrying, will ya?
King Kai laughed, smugness increasing yet further.
The Namekians know you guys and the insane situations you get into by now. After last time, they powered up Purunga. He can bring back groups now, too. Frankly, Shenron must be feeling kind of inadequate now.
Excellent! Tien beamed. Alright, tell the Namekians we have 2 wishes. Fix all the damage done to Earth. About time, too, Gohan muttered. I swear, if the ground keeps shaking, I'm going to go insane. And whose fault is that, huh? Raditz quipped. And with the second, bring everyone who's died during Babidi and Boo's rampages back to life. Except Babidi and Boo, on the off chance he's already dead. And their lot, obviously.
Alright, I'll tell them. You'll see the results soon. See ya, guys.
The connection cut out, leaving the group more anxious than ever before as they waited for the restoration of Earth. The battle with Cell had been the ultimate test of skill. A bioengineered creation designed to be superior to them with a hyper-advanced mind. The perfect warrior. Majin Buu, though, was the ultimate elemental clash of power. One being's mind directly opposed to the other. Hundreds upon hundreds of thundering blows, each with the might to shake worlds apart, blurring together into one continuous struggle between these two, warrior and monster. Their powers far too massive for their physical bodies to contain, spilling out for miles around in dizzying coronas of cosmic energy. At Kaioken ×3, Goku had the upper hand, but not by much, and took everything he had to maintain his offensive. He hammered uncountable, thousands of punches into Boo's indestructible body, until his hands went numb. He kicked until his legs seized up. Exhausted, but keeping his power burning, he grabbed Boo and brought the battle to close quarters, ramming his knees and elbows into Boo until blood ran down his aching limbs, and in tight moments ended up keeping Boo off balance with headbutts so often that his vision blurred and his ears rang, more streams of blood seeping down his face and matting his hair. Body all but spent, he fell away, unleashing a barrage of ki-eyes that crushed Boo down into a misshapen blob, but it simply sprang back to normal size, mildly irked, but no worse off. Goku fired off a huge volley of energy beams, cutting Boo to ribbons and blasting every piece to shreds. The specks of dust that remained organized themselves into a Boo-like shape, then filled in the gaps in a matter of seconds. This Boo, as he suspected, possessed even more potent powers of regeneration than the others. It never lost any energy reforming, and was constantly at 100%. Goku's minor advantage was simply not enough to wear Boo down to the point where it could be destroyed faster than it could heal the damage he was doing to it. Finally, the great offensive ground to a halt. Every cell in Goku's body groaned, and he looked with increasing weariness over at Boo, who was spinning in idle circles and giggling, completely fine. Damn! What do I do now? Goku took a step back, closing his eyes for a minute. He emptied his mind and waited for the decision to make itself known. His subconscious whirred over the situation, decades of battle experience analyzing possible routes of attack. Finally, he arrived at a conclusion. I can't beat him. He opened his eyes, sighing. Boo was lazily approaching. Guess I have to blow the door. No solution. Solve. Boo. Problem. Defeat. Kill. Living. Destroy. Remove. Energy. Energy. Heal. Regenerate. Counter. Stop. Different form. Higher form. Energy pure. He shook his head. Not now! Majin Buu was only a few steps away. It craned its neck up towards him, pointed one stubby finger, and, for the first and last time, spoke. Me Boo! It gargled. Kill you! Goku gulped. Yeah, probably. That's it for Chapter 90. I'll see you in Chapter 91 in a few seconds, where we will finally conclude the Buu saga. So stay tuned.
Hello? You guys there?
King Kai's voice chimed in mentally.
Hey, just thought I'd let you know that the Namekians have made the wishes. Earth and its people are back.
Huh? Goten glanced around. But the lookout's still all broken.
Yeah, about that. I made a little change to your wish. Not to restore the time chamber or even the lookout, since that moved the chamber.
What's wrong with it? Gohan asked.
Well, you did kinda mess with it when you improvised a fix for the door. Repairing it as it was could give you less time to form that spirit bomb you're planning. And I don't even want to move it at this point. Who knows how unstable it could be?
Good point. And Tien, speaking of... I hear you. Tien closed his eyes, letting the familiar sensation of a gathering spirit bomb flow through his body, drawing energy from the people and animals of the earth, from the grass, the trees, the rocks, the air, and the oceans, then extending his reach as he'd done once before, and pulling on the energy of the other planets in the solar system. And finally, from the sun, a huge energy source, as always. He smiled at the speed with which he'd gathered all this energy, a large shimmering energy sphere already hanging over his head, glowing a faint blue. Alright, looks like my meditation's paid off. I was worried that not being able to regularly practice it would be a problem, but I guess the little experience I've had using it in battle's enough. Still, he said as the others observed the spirit bomb growing steadily larger with a kind of awe. Goku better have done something to weaken Buu if it gets out here, or this isn't going to be enough to kill it. True, Raditz agreed. This kind of power wouldn't really suffice to finish Buu on its own, but it's your best shot. Maybe if we all shot Buu at once, then you hit it with that thing. Maybe. Tien fell silent for a second, then decided something. Hey guys, can you all try and put as much energy as you can into this? Keep enough for a shot at Buu if it comes to it, I guess, but it'll be much more effective if we can all combine our powers. Right. Launch was the first to raise a hand towards the thing, and let a stream of energy pass into it. Far more than the tiny amount the spirit bomb normally took from every unwitting living creature. The others, reaching a quick ascent, followed suit, and Tien felt rather than saw the sphere grow suddenly, now lighting up the whole valley with its glare. Excellent! He enthused. But still, I have to wonder if it'll stop Buu. He's more powerful than any of us here. But surely all our powers added together are greater than his, Gohan argued. It isn't quite that simple, Tien informed him. Of your total power, only about a third of it is Genki, life force. That's what you give to the spirit bomb. You can't even give all of it, or close to, or you die. So we'd need a lot more people to voluntarily... He trailed off, eyes slowly widening. Well, why not? King Kai, are you thinking what I think you're thinking? The Northern Kai asked smugly. I give up. Tien didn't quite understand, and knew of the demigod's tendency to tell bad jokes no matter the situation. What's the punchline?
What? How did you even...
King Kai stumbled, flustered over his words.
I wasn't joking. You know what, never mind. What were you going to say?
Right. Tien recovered from his confusion shortly. I've got a plan. People of Earth! Said people of Earth took a collective pause as a voice spoke in their minds, all over the world at once. I'm sure you remember being killed earlier today and then mysteriously reappearing, unharmed. I assure you it was not a dream or an illusion. Ask your neighbor, it happened to everyone. King Kai was broadcasting Tien's speech to the entire population. You were killed by a monster named Majin Buu. We, the group who fought Cell, among other threats, have managed to undo the damage it's caused, but we're still fighting it. I'm a friend of Son Goku and Son Gohan. Tien told them, opting to leave his own name out in case anyone still associated it with his vicious past under the Crane Hermit's teachings. I'm gathering an attack that may destroy Majin Buu for good, but I need your help, all of you. You can give energy to this spirit bomb simply by raising your arms to the sky. Please, help us stop everyone from being killed for good this time. Some people responded quickly, of course, their entire circle of friends and family. Some older friends and acquaintances too, almost forgotten faces the world over. Android 8, Suno, Upa, Bora, Baba and her fighters, Nam, Giran. The tiny bursts of energy, combining to a larger whole, trickled in from all around the globe. It's not enough, Tien said grimly. Only a few people are helping. Hey, if a voice in my head started asking me for stuff, I'd be a little hesitant, Launch pointed out. What do I say? How can I make them trust me? He groaned. Everyone, you have to help us! This is your own lives we're talking about! Please! The speech King Kai relayed back to him was not promising. Who is this guy? Don't listen! It's a trick! Should we do it? How do we know he isn't lying, huh? Tien ground his teeth together. What's it take, huh? Is it a little much to ask you people to give something back for once? He glanced around at the nervous group around him. Anybody got any ideas? Go ahead and talk to him. And they tried. The small band tried everything they could to convince the people of the world to share their energy. They pleaded, encouraged, shouted, begged, negotiated for minute after agonizing minute. Some people were convinced. Another trickle of energy had slowly accumulated over time as quite a substantial amount of people gave their energy to the spirit bomb, and it swelled in size again. But it was still less than a tenth of the Earth's population, and even when the Namekians telepathically chimed in to lend their own energy, only about 100 of that race were even still living, and they could only do so much. Finally, they were out of ideas, mentally exhausted. Everyone ambled around in a sort of daze, knowing it wasn't enough. Tien kept the attack going, but the futility of the venture, and his own failure, was gnawing at him. What now? How am I supposed to stop Buu with this? How? Please? A child's voice, slightly quivering, almost breaking. My dad's fighting that thing. A repressed sob hastily turned into a sniff. Tien turned. Goten, he's all alone with Boo, Goten continued. No one could have faked the sincerity, the desperation, in his words. Please don't let my daddy die! There was a long, dreadful silence. And then, Tien's eyes, all three, snapped open wide. What's this? Power! So much energy flooding into the spirit bomb! The energy sphere grew massively in size, obscuring the sun with its own glow. This is the entire Earth combined with one will. 7 billion people. None of them perfect, but all in that one glorious instant, united in the determination not to let that one child cry. I can't believe it! I've never felt so much power in my life, not even from Boo! Thank you! He called out loud. Thank you, everyone! Now, if the worst should happen and Boo gets out, I can nail him with this and finish it! A thunderclap, the toll of a bell, the crash of metal on metal. To them, the most dreadful sound in the world because of what it heralded. The time chamber door had been destroyed. Goku lowered his hand, smoke rising from the burning remnants of the main building. Gone, and with it the entrance. It's time to face facts. I can't beat you, Boo. You're too much for me. Slowly, he raised his fist. So now we're both trapped in here, forever. At least in your case. I don't think I'll be living that long. But I can't just bear to stand around and let you kill me. Even if it's impossible. Something in me just won't let me die without at least trying to win. A mad grin stole its way onto his face. So come on! Do your worst! Boo gnashed its teeth, trembling from head to toe. It wasn't completely stupid, and it knew what Goku had done, and the implications. Its playground, the universe, robbed from it, and replaced with this boring emptiness, with nothing to do but exact revenge on the man who trapped it there. Yeah, I bet I'm not your favorite person right now. Well, I'm right here! Come on already! And Boo did. It stretched out an arm, the limbs snaking out at frightening speed and clamping around Goku's neck. He choked as Boo reeled him in, managing to swing a leg up, fortify it with ki and slice right through Boo's elbow with a kick, freeing himself. However, he barely pried the disembodied hand off him when Boo's other arm swung around, utilizing its body manipulation powers to grow the wrist and hand to massive size, the gigantic fist smashing Goku to the ground. Goku rolled away, standing unsteadily as Boo regenerated and returned to normal size. It spat, advancing again. It punched again, but Goku caught it before it could grow its fist. That won't work twice! He shouted, throwing a punch of his own at Boo's head. Boo's mouth snapped open, and it belched out a large pink energy wave. Goku had to act fast, or the energy of it could take his head off. His fist, however, was still positioned in the path of the blast. Ryuken! Pulling on ever deeper reserves, he sent Boo flying away with the summoned Golden Dragon, the resulting explosion taking even Boo a couple of seconds to recover from. Alas, it still hadn't lost any energy. Damn it! Goku brought his hands down and to the side. No time to waste. Gotta keep up the offensive. Kame! Boo was having none of it. It rolled up its body into a ball, hovering in midair. The comical sight quickly became apparent for what it was when it shot straight at Goku. A deadly high-speed projectile. Hamagya! Goku yelped as the Boo ball hit him in the face, hurling him into the air. Half a second into his flight, now horizontal in midair, his brain was still whirring. Blood poured from somewhere on his face. One of his eyes didn't seem to be working. He could see nothing on the far left and his depth perception was messed up. He's still got all this energy built up. He can't let it go to waste. He forced it down his body from his hands to his feet. You might have learned the Kamehameha, Boo, but I bet you don't know this one. Yeah! The Kamehameha wave, launched from his feet, took Boo by surprise, knocked Boo out of the air, a startled frown on his face. Goku and Boo hit the ground at the same time, and shortly stood facing each other again. Then, Boo vanished. Instant movement again, Goku decided. I told you, he said in a low voice, then spun and punched behind him, catching the materializing Boo in the stomach. The same tactic won't work twice against me! Boo howled and almost lost its footing, but then its hand shot out and grabbed Goku's forearm. He tugged, but couldn't break away. Then a wave of some kind of electricity ran out from Boo's body, threw its grip on its arm and into Goku. Ah! Get away! Goku jumped, planting both feet on Boo's face before it could send another electric shock and twisted out of its grip, somersaulting away. Unfortunately, he landed with his back to it, and a crackle of energy signaled that Boo was preparing its next attack. It surrounded its body with energy and flew at him, again using its own body as a projectile. Coming in too fast!
Only option is... Damn it! Kaioken! Equal parts energy and pain flooded his body, and he turned in time to intercept Boo, leading with his fist and hitting Boo head on. Flattened by the impact, Boo abruptly exploded into rubbery pink chunks. Each piece, though, animated by Boo's malevolent will, formed itself into a complete miniature Boo, and then each one launched a pulsing energy blast. Goku was still trying to recover from overexerting himself, and was hit by the barrage. The world blurred and faded, black creeping into the edges of his vision. Sound was fuzzy, and his overburdened nervous system was trying to communicate pain in a lot of different places. Something was falling slowly through the air in front of him, twisting and splashing in different patterns. Is that my blood? There's so much of it. Boo's head tentacles shot out, elongating and wrapping around Goku's ankle. Boo swung its head around, whirring its barely resisting enemy through the hot, stifling air. Goku was prepared for death at this point. He knew it wouldn't be long now. I've got nothing left. At least, everyone's safe while he's stuck in here. But one thought, rising from the back of his mind, wouldn't leave him alone. One persistent, nagging thought. What were you thinking about, Gohan? You were on the verge of something. His head spun. Defeat Boo. How? An agonizing impact as Boo released him, his head smacking painfully into the ground. Thanks. Boo paused. That it meant to be the killing blow, to crack Goku's skull. But the strange man was standing up, a river of blood pouring down his face. And laughing. Thanks, Boo. I wasn't thinking too clearly. You just knocked my thoughts into place. He flung his arms out, powering up as best as he could. Are you ready, Boo? Boo had to pause. Curiosity made it hold off on killing him now. What could he possibly do? It had to know. Right, Gohan. Different form of energy. A higher form of energy. It'd stop him regenerating, right? Like the spirit bomb. But I can't do that. Or like, the solar flare? Wait. Solar. Sun. Star. We have easily enough power to destroy one. We can generate more energy than a supernova. So, making one should be possible, right? Higher form of energy? He brought his hands together in front of his chest. Come on, Goku, I know you don't pay attention to Gohan's science homework, but you must have overheard something. You're not dumb. You're uneducated. But this is energy. This is fighting. You can figure this out. Stars. Made of gas. Hot gas? Something else. Pressure! Right. Gas is all around me. Heat. Pressure. I can do those. He began by forming a huge spherical shell of ki over his head, trapping the air inside, and then contracting it. As it shrunk, the gas inside was compressed to ever smaller areas, pressure building up to the level where, in his weakened state, he had to struggle to keep the barrier strong enough to contain the compressed air, now bursting to get out. Then, he began to pump heat into it, summoning up the last depths of his energy reserves to heat up the space inside the sphere. With one final burst of energy, he poured in a stream of fiery ki from his hands, and there, the creation, the miniature sun, sprung to life in front of him. The warm glow momentarily mesmerized him. Of course, a sun of this small size would not be stable, especially given that with the addition of his ki, it had at least as much energy as a full-sized one. As soon as he dropped the shield, it would explode. Which was the plan, of course. Okay, Boo, thanks for waiting. Ugh. Boo yawned, blinking blearily at him. Goku was stunned. He was asleep? Don't worry about it. If this doesn't kill him, I really am done. Thanks, Gohan. Okay, here goes. He kicked off, leaping at Boo, right arm held back with the artificial star held between his fingers, ready to swing it around as soon as he was right in range. Boo didn't move. Now! He swung. His hand with the orb shot at Boo's head, and Boo swayed casually to the side, dodging effortlessly. No! Damn it! Boo brought his arms up, grinning murderously. One hand grabbed Goku's right forearm, the other the upper arm, just near the shoulder. Then, it pulled. Goku wasn't quite aware of what happened next. He was too busy screaming. It might have been a second or a minute before he managed to open his working eye and take in the situation. The world was moving in slow motion, or seemed to be as his brain struggled to process the overwhelming input it was getting. Far too much blood was flying out away from him. His last hope, the barely contained star, was drifting away from him. The ground was rushing up to meet him. Boo stood in front of him, laughing hysterically,
Goku's severed right arm held two-handed above its head like a trophy. That's it then. It was a crazy plan anyway. The black at the edges crept in, and the world slowly began to grow dark again. Damn it. I just couldn't beat Majin Buu in the end. After all this time. A wave of dread swept over Chi-Chi, like something had just entered her mind and stolen the light out of the world. Her breath caught in her throat. And then, she knew. Goku? Goku fell into darkness, and the darkness rushed up to meet him. On one hand, he wished he could have won in the end, but on the other, he accepted it. He'd done all he could. A voice. Mumbling? No, far off. King Yama? Am I dead already? No, not him, but it sounded familiar. And finally, he caught the words. Is that all? What? What did I tell you? You have the potential to be the greatest of us! You always did! Look at how powerful you've grown, and yet you can't even beat this little freak of nature! Vegeta? Kakarot! Don't you dare give in now! If I see you in the afterlife before Buu's dead, I swear I'll kill you all over again! Encouraging. But, sorry, I've given it everything I have. Buu's just too tough for me. I hate saying it, but that's just the way it is. Nonsense. You know, and I know, this battle isn't about survival. It's about victory. The mightiest warrior of the Saiyan race cannot, will not, lose to this monster, even if it kills you. Yeah, Reddit said the same. Are you really talking to me? Or am I just hallucinating? Blood loss and stuff. Doesn't matter. Remember what I told you, Kakarot. Ruthless, unstoppable. You have the potential. Don't ever stop fighting. As your prince, I command you to win. I can only try. Trying is another word for failing. Now. The voice paused for a long time. Then, get up! The violence of the word shook Goku awake. Barely any time had passed. He was still falling. Buu had discarded his missing arm. His attack was still drifting away. There was blood everywhere. Even if it kills me! He spat. He spun in midair, every movement a monumental effort that sent spikes of pain through his broken body. I need to sleep for, like, a week. But, not yet! He fought through the pain, righting himself and bringing his remaining left arm around and snatching the miniature star out of the air. Buu was genuinely shocked. He had thought for sure this time that he was dead. Caught off guard, it swung a close-range punch. Goku gritted his teeth, fighting momentary blackouts. Faster! Stronger! Kaioken times something! Much power as I have left! Yeah! Wreathed in magical flames, he spun around the incoming punch and brought his own arm down. It's your turn, Buu! With the final effort, he rammed the sphere into Buu's open, screaming mouth and down its throat, then withdrew its arm and kicked off its chest to propel himself away. Nova Burst, go! The universe is a strange place, full of natural wonders. Stars being born and dying in cataclysmic supernovae are two such wonders. But a star being born and going supernova at the same time? Somewhat less common. Goku wasn't awake to see it, though. When he finally awoke, there was no sign of Majin Buu at all. He was superficially burned, but the majority of the cataclysmic, cosmic explosion must have been contained inside Buu's body, destroying it from inside out. He managed to sit, then to stand. What now? All that he could see, in the endless emptiness of the hyperbolic time chamber, was a severed arm and the demolished remains of the entrance. Picking up the former, he trudged over to the latter. Complex thought was now getting beyond him. Blood loss was starting to seriously affect his mental processes. He staggered, fell, stood again. Then, mind and body almost failing, he made a decision. He took a deep breath. One thought, overall. I want to go home! Damn it! What good is this thing if I can't do anything with it? Tien shouted almost hysterically. I can't just give all the energy back. It's going to blow up something! Raditz stood up. What if Kabito-shin could teleport you to some uninhabited planet, and you could throw it at their moon or something? Would the spirit bomb go with you? I don't know!
I wasn't really thinking about what happened if I couldn't...
Unexpectedly, needless to say, a warping, crackling hole in reality blasted its way open where the time chamber door had once stood. Through it, generating the massive amount of power that had busted down the weakened barrier between dimensions, came a voice. What? Look! Something's... Is that... Goku stepped out into the real world, the portal closing behind him.
Hey, I'm gonna go and sleep now, okay?
With that, he collapsed. Dad! Gohan rushed forwards, holding up his unconscious father. Dende, quick! Right. Dende hurried over, placing his hands on Goku and using his recovered healing energies to restore Goku, even placing the severed arm on the shoulder stump and reattaching it. Goku stood, stretching. Hey, everybody! Sorry for worrying you all like that. Laughter and the rush of victory followed, of course. They got maybe 11 seconds of it before the feeling hit them. A terrible sensation, and a familiar one. A key they had hoped they'd never have to feel again. Do you feel it? Break whispered. Boo! Gohan growled. He's still alive! But how? And where is he? It feels like he's close. Come on! Goku mentally groaned. I blew up a sun in his face and he's not dead? What the hell? Wait. It's coming from... right here. But I don't see him. Ah! Goten pointed, trembling. Dad, on your back! Look! All eyes turned to Goku. True enough, a pulsing pink mass had attached itself to Goku's back. The tiniest remnant of Buu. Possibly only a single molecule had survived. It was slowly growing. Gah! Get it off! Goku spun, clawing at it, but it was still growing. If he envelops me fully, he'll absorb me, and then... He didn't even want to think about it. Somebody shoot him! I can't without hitting you! Raditz hissed. Pull it off first! I can't reach! It's moving too fast! Something caught his eye. This light. It's not the sun. He looked up. A spirit bomb? Wow, that thing's enormous! Hey, nice going, Tien. Alright then. He took off, flying straight for the spirit bomb above Tien's head. Wait! Gohan shouted after him. Don't kill yourself just to... Don't worry. Tien called down to him. The spirit bomb only affects those with evil in their hearts. It won't hurt Goku. Oh, it does? Goku laughed. Neat. I don't have to die too then. He didn't know? Tien was stunned. And he's still... Alright. Goku was pushing back with his ki, trying to keep Buu from moving or spreading around him. The light of the spirit bomb was blinding, its size enveloping his entire field of vision. Buu, you were really a great opponent. The toughest I've ever faced. I hope maybe you can come back someday. As a better person, I guess. I'd love to fight you again. The ultimate energy attack burned in front of him. The collective hope and generosity of two entire races. Well, see you around! Spreading his arms out to the sides, Goku stepped into the light. Get down! Tien shouted, releasing his hold on the spirit bomb as it reacted violently to Buu's evil presence, and diving to the floor. Everybody take cover! This is it! Raditz almost laughed, unable to contain his excitement. So bright, Launch murmured. It took over a minute for the blast to clear, the mighty attack eventually scattering and lighting up the entire western hemisphere of the planet, with the universe's greatest fireworks display. Now, Majin Buu, as was known to all present, had a truly astounding capacity to regenerate. In fact, even if it was reduced to atoms, those atoms could then reform into its unharmed body. Even Cell required at least a complete organic cell. Science can't explain this, which is why Buu's abilities fall firmly into the category of magic. So it was lucky indeed that the spirit bomb, when it kills someone, destroys them on a subatomic level, especially a being as pure evil as Majin Buu. It screamed its dying rage, unheard to the heavens as it was torn apart, rent asunder, and reduced to nothing at all. No trace left of the greatest threat the universe had ever known. Majin Buu was dead. After countless battles, after so many near victories and near defeats, the pink terror of the universe, Majin Buu, is finally dead. I want to thank you so much for listening to chapter 89, 90, and 91. I'll see you back in 2 weeks. I'll be taking a week-long break to compose myself. I've been going non-stop on this for a long time. I'll need a little break to charge my batteries, so to say, or so to speak. But I'll see you back in 2 weeks, where we'll continue with the post-game saga. Everything from after the Buu saga, leading up to Battle of Gods, and maybe even further beyond. Oh my god, I made a pun and I didn't even realize it. Even further beyond will be after the post-game saga. So, I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Don't forget to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with the show. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe. Ginger Powers signing off. I'll see you all in 2 weeks.